talking to actually his first cousin. There were signs but no one saw that. They saw signs of like hopelessness. They saw things of him stating that he didn't want to be a burden to the family. They saw signs of him doing strange behavior that he had never displayed before and that he didn't even need to do. So there were signs there of a person that was spiraling, but they didn't see that. They just knew that he was, saying certain things that he was not going to do anymore. And it just went from there. So, and I think even when he did the final act, because it was not a note, it was just one of those things where I just think the cares of life just took over. And in that instant, he made a split decision, like immediately, in that he couldn't undo it. So he wasn't even at home when he did it, and it was just a split second. So you got to understand too, suicide is something that you probably have thought about and you struggle with, but sometimes people are able to make the letters and just say, hey, I'm feeling this, but sometimes it's just a split of the moment. You tell yourself to do it and then you do it. It's just turn it back.
I hate that when something seems to be like, for example, suicide. I know we do it. We don't mind talking about it. We kind of straight to the point, very honest, don't really, like when it's the truth, it's the truth. I really hate this when it's something like this. People don't want to talk about it because it's a touchy thing or it's like sticky, like to get into. And that's where we go wrong, because once you shy away from talking about it, that's when it happens more often. Because if you don't talk about it, how can you prevent it? How can you educate people on it? How can you give context? And that's the part I hate. Like when in our community, we do things where we talk about we like to hint at stuff and talk about stuff that's entertaining, and we like to talk about, the fun stuff and everything else. But it's like we run away from the truth and the bad stuff. We don't never say. And I mean, I understand, like sometimes you don't want to talk about stuff, but it's like when you living in this world, you got to understand that bad stuff happen and you're going to have to talk about the bad stuff. Because if you don't talk about it, then how will you know about it? You know what I'm saying? How can you prevent it? So yeah, I hate that it'd be such a big topic that we don't really discuss it as much. Yeah.
And always want to be strong in others, be strong in this, be strong in that. But when it's time to talk about something,
then
you can't be strong about that though, can you?
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I think people don't want to play weakness. And I think when you have to disclose things like that, it makes the person, so it's saying like, also too, for them to get help. I think a lot of folks think that if you get help or you get counseling, for the longest time, our community, we didn't even get therapy, help. And now it's like everywhere you look, we're realizing that you need therapy, because a lot of people are suffering from things that happen in their childhood, things that they have experienced in life. And when you don't know how to cope with those things and how to move forward, then you'll spend years, responding from a trauma point. And trauma is another reason why people commit suicide. So I'm just happy to know that it has become a thing where celebrities talk about it, other people talk about it, and really also too, when you're dating, some people don't even want to date people if they haven't took the time to heal themselves. As I said in the other episode, I am on my healing journey, and that's one of the things that I'm wanting to do, is just heal some old hurts so that things like this don't pop up in your head. Because think about it, if you get so weighed down from your past, from things that happened to you when you were small or just whatever, you can get to the point where you just feel like life is doing me bad.
Yeah.
So it don't always have to be a young person. It always have to be those big things. It can just be when you're not letting go of past or past hurt, just feel so overwhelmed and not feeling love, trying to figure out what God is in everything, which he's there. But sometimes that's that hopelessness that people feel. Sometimes they're thinking, where is God? Things too that, I always think about is that parents are not aware of, children and their children, for instance, and how they feel about suicide. So I was talking with Haley earlier. And so now we're going to bring Haley in so that she can just talk about, and again, I have no idea what Miss Haley is going to say. So we're going to bring to our first guest to Three Ways to Say It podcast, Miss Haley, my oldest daughter, Miss Haley. Don't be nervous. So, yeah. Miss Haley Carter, she is on Facebook with all these likes and things like that. Okay. All right. So would you like to share with me earlier this morning when I was just kind of telling you about the topic that I was going to have today? You also shared some things with me about suicide that I just wasn't aware of, you guys. So this is me, a mother, listening to her child for the first time about her take on suicide and just whatever she wants to tell us. So go ahead, Hayden.
Okay. First of all, we so bright. Okay, we're just gonna go back with when I was first living with my dad throughout like middle school and high school. It was just moments where I used to write him random notes and stuff like that, just about my depression and how I was declining from dealing with different men and trying to see men and my father and trying to just get some sort of friend or family, just accommodation.
Mm-hmm.
Point where he was just like, well, since you just so adamant about it, why don't you just slit your wrist? That'll be the quickest thing to just get you gone. You just go on the way. And then I get what he was trying to come with. He was trying to come with it at a place of like, girl, don't you know that it'll hurt everybody, that'll hurt everybody in your, and all the costs that it would take, and we ain't even prepared. But the way he went about it, it just wasn't the right way.
Mm-hmm.
On top of him having discussions with my ex about how he thinks that I will not evolve in life, or I won't go nowhere or do anything. And when me coming up and growing up and realizing that he used to put me against my mother with lying and stuff like that, and just not having a solid foundation, that made me look for him and a lot of other people. And it just was like, I'm never gonna be happy trying to be with people and deal with what they dealing with and go what they go through, because that's not gonna give me a true family. And all the times that I wanted to reach out to them, I felt like everybody gonna know, and it defeats the purpose.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Ooh.
That's what I said. Had no clue. Wasn't aware. No one told me about a note. No one told. I don't even think she even told me about what he said. So imagine I was very shocked this morning, and I said, wow. I know it's not by coincidence that you shared this with me today on the day that I got to talk about suicide. And I just happened to be just randomly just telling her, excited about, okay, we're talking about suicide today. And let me tell you this, I heard this. And then she tell me that. And I thought to myself, that's the same thing that the coworker did to the person. Do it. Especially was hurtful for her because it's her dad. And even though I don't feel that he really meant to say that to her, I think it's that old thing there earlier, Ashley, where it's kind of like they feel like you tough and okay, if you're gonna do it, then do it this way, kind of like brushing it off. Instead of getting to the root of why your 14-year-old at the time would feel this way, and then not even having the decency to cue the mother in, because at that time she was staying over his house to go to school. So just wasn't aware. Again, being a parent, you don't always know everything that your child is experiencing. you could understand that your child, have some low moments, which I was aware that Haley does have low moments from time to time. I always say Haley is my child that I'm always concerned about, just because she do have low moments. Myself have, moments sometime where I just feel like the weight of the world, but never nothing, suicide or anything like that. But I do have moments sometime where I just feel low, and then I move on from it. But so I can relate with her and understand that no matter how strong you can be, no matter how saved you are, no matter how happy you may seem, I know everything could be going right for me, and then sometimes I'm just kind of like, what I'm saying, so
yeah,
that just happens.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go ahead.
Okay.
We always do.
You go ahead.
And I want to say that's the problem. I feel like I don't know how strong people really think we're supposed to be. They act like we're supposed to be able to take on everything. Like, can't nothing go wrong with us. We can't be sad. Can't have, be depressed one day. Can't have a little anxiety. I mean, people treat it like something wrong with you. So, if you feel like something's, going on. And I think getting up every morning and just living, period, is strong enough. Everything else, I feel like if you need the help, then that's okay. It shouldn't be a problem to be sad and be down and not be what people want you to be and all that. So yeah, I think that that's the problem with Black families. So yeah, go ahead, Ash.
I definitely agree, and goes back to what I said at work before. It's kind of like that when you get caught up, when sometimes parents, and it's understanding, where we get caught up. Well, not we, because I'm not a parent, but they get caught up in the work, home, take care of the kids, work, home, take care of the kids, work, home, take care of the kids. And I think sometimes it can be viewed as, oh, a child should not be stressed out about anything because I'm the one paying the bills. I'm the one that's supposed to be stressed out. I'm the one that take care of you. I'm the one that's supposed to be stressed out. We can see now, even us just going through school 7 days a week, you got homework almost every night. That can become very stressful. Like, we have to be honest about it and not see like kids can't be stressful because they quote unquote don't have bills or not going through real love issues. You know how they always say like that's puppy love. Yeah, it is probably. I don't know, but the same way I felt about a boy in 12th grade, 11th grade, is that same feeling I have now. So it can be too much of puppy love. Now I get where they were going with it, but the emotion part of it, you still heard about it. So I think what I wanted to ask Haley was because I'm more about solutions. It's like, what did she want to hear from her dad? Like, what did she need in that moment?
To hear from her dad is that you can do it. You're valuable. I don't think he affirmed her. I think he felt a little, because what she have expressed to me is that, and let me just say, I don't want to make her dad seem, bad or anything. He's actually a father. He's the father of my kids, my ex-husband. So I was married to him, and he take care of his children. That's the one thing that I know that he was gonna do. I knew that I can depend on all of that. So let me just say that out of the way. He's an amazing dad. He has taken care of Haley. Never had to run him down, never had to look for him, anything like that. I mean, he does his job and he's doing his job now. But I think we don't have a manual, and, due to certain things that childhood things that go on with other people, whether they have, a mother and a dad. Well, she had a mother, but his dad was not in his life. So I don't know if that's a reason why, people, do things differently. I really don't know, but I think she just needed to be reassured by her dad about some things, and so she struggled with that, and even now, so that's just something that she's going to have to work out. And you know what I always say, with everything that you have in life, every problem that you have, you just got to work it out with God, and then that'll just help with every relationship that you have. Once you focus on God, he'll show you how to mend those other relationships and how to, maneuver past that. So that's my advice for her, is to connect that way. And then all that other stuff that she's trouble with, that bothers her, God will work that out.
Yeah. And it was,
Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead for real.
Okay. And I think also too, it was good to hear from her, and like I said, needing that reassurance from her dad. Cause I think we always say that the young boys need their dads, and which is true, they do. But we do, we need our dad. We need their reassurance. We do need that male love in our life. And not saying that he didn't give it to her, but you just that's our first boyfriend, like they say. I feel like that's what it is. Like, I look up to my dad. It's the same way. I at one point was looking for my dad and other guys, and I can remember going to one of my cousin's weddings, and the pastor was like, "You don't want your husband to be like your dad." he was like, "You think you do,
right? But you don't
think about you wanting to marry your dad." And I had to sit there. I was like, "You're right. I love my dad. My dad raised us all in the same house, all that." But at the same time, he has great qualities about him. But it is qualities where I'm just like, no emotion, don't want to talk about nothing. It's strictly pay bills, provide, and go to bed. But like I said, but yes, overall he is a great dad. But like I said, that's just natural. I think the same way with guys, they look for their mom in women. So I'm glad that she did open up about that. So that was nice to hear that part of it.
I was gonna say, well, she gone now, but I was gonna thank you for opening it up, because that's hard to do. I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time, I think, to talk about my school situation. Like if I didn't have the right people around me, I probably never would have shared it. I'm gonna be honest, and I probably would have shared it with my mama like years on down the line. But being surrounded with safe, I guess, havens and people, I was able to kind of dive deep into that. And what I was about to say is, I know on social media we see a lot of these videos where we see like the younger parents, period, like the women telling their daughters, "You're beautiful," and the men, you see those videos, the men telling their son, "Good job." All those times you see them together, I don't know why that's not like celebrated or put on a bigger platform, because I don't think people realize how important that stuff is. Like,
very important.
Literally, like the parents should always, these are your offspring. Like, these are literally, I don't even know how to put it into words. It's so bigger than what it is, but literally you have to tell them that, because you are setting the foundation for them to know that they're okay, that they're good, that they're doing enough, that they're pretty enough, that they're a man enough, that they're a woman enough. And without that, if you have parents without that, like, you kind of put your child out there where they searching for somebody to tell them they're good enough. What if nobody ever tell them that? What if nobody ever tell them they're smart? Are you expecting them to go out there and know that they're self? I don't think that's how development works. But I think, and I feel like if I do eventually be a parent, that would be the first thing I have to do. You have to, I don't know if you have to me, you do it, you got to do it every day. But if you do it often, at least tell your child that they are smart, they're good enough. I love to see the videos when the younger teachers, or they pick up these things where, they'll tell the students as they walk in, say that you're beautiful, say that you're smart, you're intelligent. Because that stuff right there stick with children. Like, just like children are impressionable on bad stuff, they all also are impressionable on good stuff. You know what I mean? They pick up everything that they're taught. So I do think when I see parents, and I think it should be put on a bigger platform, I think that's like parents need to literally, like you say, reaffirm your children, reassure them that they're good, that they matter in the world, they have a purpose, just tell them that. And I promise you that child going to eventually believe it, or that child can at least say they heard it before and they're not looking for it in anybody else. Because if you don't tell them, that's what they're going to automatically do, go look for it in somebody else. So, yeah.
Right. I will say this. My mother, Miss Nora, that's one of the things that she instilled in me. So let me just tell y'all, I have the absolute best mother. My mother's about to turn 75 in April. And God knew exactly what I needed in a mother, because my mom, she is that. And my mom have always told me that I was beautiful. My mom has always told me I was smart. And the one thing that no one can never take from me, and that I always knew, is that, and this is what my mom always said, she was like, there go my baby with her pretty self. My mom, they said it to me, and that's how she said, there go mama baby with her pretty self. So I've always felt that I was pretty. I've always, that's the one thing I never questioned, because my mama drilled that. My mama drilled, not because she felt that I was, just above anybody or whatever, but this is what she wanted me to know. And so I've also said that to my children, that you're beautiful, smart, and things like that, and encourage them, and I think people should do that. But that is the one thing. And I will always say to people, one thing I am not is ugly, because my mom.
Yeah.
And
that's how it's supposed to go.
I could be ugly, but because my mom has instilled that, I have no clue that I'm ugly. Because my mom has, I am beautiful. So no one can make me think otherwise on that, right? Because of what she said felt about me. So I
I 100% agree with that. And I'm also note piggyback behind that, and I have to shout out my dad. I'm not gonna say his name because he's like, why you say my name? But and that just goes back to, and I'm just gonna get off subject just for a second with this, but the whole colorism thing, one thing I never felt in our household, and it could be because all of us was around the same skin color, I ain't never been bullied about it. And I can say that I've probably never been bullied about it. But one thing, can't nobody say they above me because they light skin, none of that. And I can never to this day understand why anybody of a dark complexion would feel lower because of a skin tone. My dad has always told me that I was pretty, tall, all that. Now, I don't know, I ain't probably hear from him, but my dad always said he always embraced my height. Now, I still struggle with the height thing for today. And I think it's more so like with guys, but not with women or whatever. I do feel like a stallion. But
come on, girl.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, but that's the thing that I do like to hear is, that motivational part about our parents, like, and another thing I was gonna say too was, I think sometimes it's hard for kids to open up about their parents, because if we say quote unquote something negative about our parents, or something that probably hurt us about them, it'll make them probably look bad, in a light, and they'll be like, oh, you can't say that, And one thing I'm gonna always say, I can talk about you, but can't nobody else talk about you.
Right.
Yeah, that's it for real.
Now, but also I will open up and be honest and listen to people's opinion. But y'all know when I say I ain't finna let nobody talk about you now, because you know your mama, you know your daddy, you know them. Can't nobody tell me about my mama and my dad, and that's what I tell my brother all the time. Can't nobody tell your niece nothing about you. She know you. Everything you do, can't nobody steer her differently from you. You know your mom and your dad.
Right.
Yeah, and I was about to say, my mama, she definitely, I'm talking about education, anything. She always told me I'm smart. You do get it. I ain't gonna lie, you get in a moment where, like, of course, you still question yourself, but no matter what, I always brought it back to her. Where my mama said me that I must be that. She told me I was smart. She told me anything I put my mind to, I can do it. And I think that's how I became to be the overachiever I am. She told me anytime I want to do something, I'm gonna say do it, because you can do it. She always, she might ask me like, ain't that a lot to take on? Then mama literally double back and be like, you know what? I forgot it's you. You can do that. She always, because she tell me, she always say we handsome, even though I know a little better than my brothers, but she always tell her we equally handsome.
Yeah.
But she told we handsome, she told her like she always, I'm telling mama literally be like, y'all gonna turn into great men. And when you see it, I mean, when you hear it and see it, it becomes something that you could believe in. So I know for sure I'm gonna become a good man. I know I'm doing the right thing because she told me that. So I think that's so important, because if you don't hear from them, who else you gonna hear from? Yeah.
Yes, and okay, one more thing. It was something that you said earlier. Sorry, I know I gotta like throw something else in there. I know, but
Yeah.
when you were saying that the motivational part of the parents that needs to be highlighted, you want to know why it's not highlighted? Because we always gotta show our kids with the joys and the this. I
Yep.
take care of my kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you supposed to
Yeah.
take care of
Right.
your children financially.
That's your job. You know, like,
You out at the park, or show us when you talking to them nicely, not tough love, or wait till they get in trouble to whoop them on live. But you
yeah.
mad because they posted stuff. Like
Yep.
let's make it make sense. But
And those type of parents, you know, their favorite time of year, Christmas, because they can show you what they bought them for Christmas. But for the rest of the year,
exactly,
but you don't see them the rest of that year posting them saying the stuff they doing outside of just buying stuff. That'd be their favorite time of year, Christmas. So they can say,
Right.
"Oh, this
yes
whole
or
year,
yes,
that whole year that went through, and it don't matter what happened years. I'm sure probably bad at school, whatever. You ain't see none of that. You ain't see them this, but you gonna see on Christmas. It don't matter if it's 2 gifts. They gonna show you. Look at this tree. These children so spoiled. What about everything else?
validation. Needing
Showing,
that
you just showing.
validation from other people
Yeah,
because
that's the
you
bare
insecure
minimum.
of your parenting.
Yeah,
Not
that's the
saying
bare minimum.
because people post stuff of the that they got their children that you're insecure, you're not a good
Mm.
parent or stuff like that. But and you there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah,
you know what we talking about. So don't
yeah.
I was gonna say, wait a minute,
you
y'all
know.
can be parents now. Hold on, we're not perfect. Get off the parents.
Yeah, so
So,
but that's that
yeah,
line of gloom. Just like you
yeah.
gotta say that gloom line, so
But
I had to
I
clear it.
will say, so we do have one parent, because you are a great parent. I do feel like you do everything you need to do. You do
Yes.
your job. You care about your children tremendously. So you are a great parent.
Yeah.
No matter if we up there eating these other parents up, you're a great one.
I know, right?
You definitely are. Your children are definitely lucky. They're not lucky. They're blessed.
They're
You do.
blessed.
But
Let
Yeah.
me not say lucky. Yeah, you're a great
I
parent.
was telling me earlier this morning, and I'm not gonna lie, it made me feel so good because she was comparing me to one of her friends' parents, and she said she was thinking to herself, like, man, my mama is all that and some. Like, my mama run rings around your mom. She was like,
Right.
and I'm like,
Keep it a book.
and she was like, I literally saw my mama pick herself off of the ground. But you want to talk about mama? Like, oh my God, Haley, really? She's
That's
like,
what I'm
that's how
talking
I
about.
felt. That's how I felt at that moment. I wanted to say,
That's what I'm
man,
talking
I'm
about.
all that.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that's
That's
what I'm
one
talking about.
thing.
cheerleader.
Your kids not gonna let nobody talk about you.
Talk
None
about
of that.
you.
So even if they, and when I say they, I'm not specifically just talking about children, just talking about in general. Like it, we've been kids before. Ain't nobody finna say nothing crazy about my mama. Or if I feel like I need to highlight my mama in a certain area, I'm gonna highlight. I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna highlight
Yep.
my dad. I don't care what nobody say. It is
Mm-hmm.
what it is.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, and tell Haley like thank you, like, and that she
Again,
is
yeah.
like beautiful. Like y'all are twins.
Y'all really are. Yeah, I'm about to say that. Y'all look just like.
That's my little Haley. That's my little favorite. I'd say I love
Okay,
her.
our podcast with our new segment, but it's gonna be a regular segment called 3 Minutes to Say It. I'm gonna give a question or a scenario, and each of us have 1 minute to talk about it. We're gonna cut it off for the minute. I'm gonna time it, and we're gonna put our all into that minute. So, all right, and then and I guess we're gonna have Ty start it off. So let me say the question or scenario. So it's more of the question at the end of the scenario. Okay. Say you've been in a long relationship. This is I put it as 15 years to be back long. And your spouse has been going through depression, anxiety for maybe 5 years. Now you've been there for them, taking care of them, but on your end, you're not getting fulfillment and satisfaction because this person who you feel like you was gonna be, madly in love with 15 years is kind of going through something, and you are there and their only caregiver. Do you do you feel obligated to never leave them because you're taking care of them? And how do you go about it?
There before. And so yeah, I'm going to take care of my husband for number one, because we already married, and that's what that whole union is about. So we would just work through it. I would seek them some help, and we would just do that together as we do everything else together. So we would share life and share that downfall, or not even downfall, just share that experience, that depression, anxiety, or whatever it is that he's going through. We would tackle it. That's pretty much it.
So yeah, definitely I wouldn't leave. I would probably help him seek counseling and go with him. If I'm not being fed what I need, I think going with him, if he allows me to go to counseling with him and helping, I think that would help me understand what he's going on and why I wasn't fed what I needed to be fed through the relationship. So I think once I get that understanding, once I understand something, it's just kind of like, okay, I see why. And yeah, I want to leave y'all.
Okay, for on my side, I feel like as a man, it's some things that, first of all, you think about on the women's side, women deal with more stuff than we do, more than the stuff that can come to them throughout life. So, for example, if you have a woman that's pregnant, you that's something you had to go through with them. Of course, they're gonna have their hormones gonna be acting up, might be sad all the time, might be depressed. You know, what is it that women have when is it postpartum? Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too. So you got to already be prepared for that stuff anyway. So me, of course, I would not leave. I do feel like I can take care of someone in that moment. I do feel like I can walk through them with it. I feel like when you get with someone, you kind of put yourself to the side, especially if you plan on being with them. You got to compromise regardless. So put yourself to the side. Your satisfaction and needs are not the main thing. It's from both ends anyway. So just like I would not leave. I would stay. And that's it. Okay, and I finished at 55 seconds.
What? Keontae won't leave? What? I'm just playing. No, you'd be like deuces. Oh,
Oh well, yeah. Honestly, yeah. I'm not gonna. I wouldn't do that. I think that's especially when where we live in. If you really love somebody, you wouldn't even think about leaving. I'm being, but you do have people these days that literally throw people to the side because they see something that's either better or they feel like they're not satisfied no more, and they don't think like that. So that's why I asked that
80,
question.
That's that 80-20 rule.
Yeah. I'll give our last remarks and a few moments of motivation from each of us. So if anybody see it, they can take it with them in the week, or just something they maybe need to hear. So we're gonna start with Tots, the preacher. I'll just play.
Well, this has been a great episode, guys. I feel so passionate about suicide. Again, like I said, it's just something that's sensitive to me. So I do want to end this podcast with just honoring my cousin, which I love dearly. So I do want to just tell you something else about him, which is he never left you without saying, I love you. I don't care where I would see him, whether it's in the mall or at a function or down a cousin's house or on Facebook, like when he's whatever, or on the telephone, he's going to always end that conversation with, I love you. And so when he did pass, that's one of the things that I was able to do was go back to a post where he had made, and he was just talking about some things. And then I could see on the post where I said, I tell you, I love you all the time. And he was like, I know you do. I love you too. So I still have those screenshots. And the one thing I can say about my cousin is that I did feel love. He made me feel like I was his favorite cousin, but that's just him. He makes every cousin feel like they're his favorite cousin. So that's something that I just loved about him. So I just wanted to say that in his memory, Mr. TP. And also for Addison's little friend, Kiwan, just a nice young man that my baby was so fond of. Definitely want to, again, just keep them in your prayers, as Addison is going to go to the funeral on Saturday to, say farewell to her friend. And now for my positive thing. Life can be very challenging. And I think that we just have to always keep God first. God is our everything. You have to keep God first so that when you go through times where your loved ones has committed suicide or thinking about committing suicide or just having a rough time, I think if you go back to our very existence, which is God for everything, I think that'll just help you to maneuver in life, whether you're getting over somebody who has passed or whether you're encouraging somebody who have had those thoughts or feeling, anxiety, things like that. It's just say a prayer, continue to pray for people and just be an ear that for them. And so I know that going forward, since my daughter has, said some things to me just today that I wasn't aware of, I've always check her location. She knows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I'm just going to be more proactive to make sure that my daughter is, feeling good. And also one of the things that I'm going to do is to offer therapy for her to just handle some things, whether it's, her relationship with her and her dad or just, life itself. And so that'll be something that would suggest for her, but I'll also let her know that I'll go with her too. So I'm suggesting that too, therapy for people, So that's I don't know if that was too motivational, but that's what I have for the podcast.
Okay. Yeah. As you want me to go next, I guess I go next.
Sure.
I do want to say, I feel like I am living proof that you have dark moments, but know that the sun does come out eventually if you sit there and wait for it. Patience is key. A change is not going to happen tomorrow, and a change cannot happen with a mindset that it never will come. So just if you are going through anything, just know there is somebody out there who's going through the same thing, though it may be hard to see because you are alone. But just know outside of that door, there is somebody who's dealing with the same thing you're dealing with. I feel like that is taking your life is a huge decision, and I don't think it's something that you want to think about or do with little thought and think that is the only option. There are a lot of options out there. Like I say, it might be bad right now, but that does not mean that 2 weeks later it won't get better. And I'm living proof of that. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, so I think the main thing I want to say is try not to water. Well, let's just say grow things where you know that they can't be grown. So I see water, and usually when I think water, I think of emotions. I just see plants. So, and I also see like a woman trying to water something that she knows that can't grow. So I think in certain moments we tend to fill other people's cups and ours is empty. And it's okay. So if that day you're feeling tired, I also see a tired woman. It's okay. Be tired that day. Be okay. I also see strength. There's strength there in you. I don't like strong, even though it's same strength. I don't know, it's just a difference for me. And I really truly believe whatever you put your mind to, you will conquer it. But the main thing is something about watering somewhere that you know will not grow.
Right.
All I see is twigs, but I see a tree in the back. So I know if you move to another place, it'll grow. So I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been a great episode. And one little thing I did want to add is I did want to thank y'all. I know y'all don't realize how much y'all have helped me open up about my little dark times and stuff like that. So thank you for being a listening ear. Y'all don't realize y'all may help me resolve a lot of things. No, I'm not all the way resolved, but y'all have definitely helped me start. So I do want to say that. But
you're welcome.
Well, we're glad that you were able to express yourself and feel safe enough with us to say it, at work, and then also come out here and be brave and say it to the world. And I do want to just say shout out to Haley, because that took a lot of courage.
Yeah, it did.
And I didn't even ask her for it. She felt that somebody needed to hear that, and that because she looks a certain way. As you can see, Haley is a beautiful girl, not because I'm her mother, but she's just a beautiful girl. And so I think a lot of time people don't, and she say that some of her friends and people just look at her, and they just don't think that she may have those moments where she may have a little anxiety or a little depression or whatever, because they looking at her. Haley is always smarting. I'm sorry, she's always smiling. Haley is the life of the party. Just silly, and fun to be around. So I think a lot of time people look at people like her and think that she don't have a care, because, but she does, just look at her. I mean, and she's loved it. I mean, you can clearly see Haley is loved. So I think sometimes her friends look at her and they feel like, okay, Haley, you grew up here, you got two parents, they take you here, do this and that. So they don't think that she have any struggles, but we all have something. And so she's just proof of that. Just looking at a person, you just cannot tell. So I do want to leave everybody with the information for suicide. So if you feeling any type of suicide thoughts, please feel free to text the number 988 or call the number 988. Both of those will get you into the suicide hotline. Also, you can text 741-741. That's another thing that you can do to get you to the suicide hotline. And last but not least, you can call the 1-800 number, which is 1-800-273-8255. Those are all resources so that you can use to, if you're feeling this way, or if someone that you know of is feeling this way, make sure that you present those things to them, because we all want to make sure that if we can save a life, we want to save a life, because, everybody is needed, and you don't want to be responsible for is taking your own life. And that's all I have for you.
Okay, great episode. We'll see y'all on episode 5.
See you later. Thank you, Haley.